Good morning, Boker Tov. After a few weeks of a break, we're back to the shortest parashot of the Torah, Parshat Nitzavim and Parshat Vayelech this year together. Somebody told me, I have a friend called Phil Chernovsky, if you know him from the OU.
Sure. Yeah.
Brochure. So he is a specialist in games of counting the words, whatever. And he told me once a very interesting thing that we think that Parashat Vayelech is the shortest, 30 psukim, and Parashat Nitzavim is a little bit bigger, 40 psukim. But if you look out at the length of each sentence, you'll see that Parashat Nitzavim and Vayelech's psukim are very, very long, the second in the Torah. And it says that, the people, that the person that was given 5 minutes to give a final drasha of his life, but in each sentence it's a lot, and Moshe does it in the Parashat Nitzavim and Vayelech. He talks very shortly, doesn't say a lot of sentences, but in each sentences he puts a lot of words, and maybe that's one of his legacies that we'll see in this shiur, because we're talking about the end of the Torah. Parashat Nitzavim Vayelech always occur at the end of the year. Sometimes it's the opening parasha of the year, but then it's Vayelech, usually not Nitzavim. So Nitzavim must be at the end of the year. And בעצם, וזאת הברכה, is just a blessing to his son, to Am Yisrael, to his son, so the tribes. And Azino is just a matter of history, concluding all the years. Whereas Parashat Nitzavim and Vayelech discuss his own moreshet, his own legacy to Am Yisrael. And we can see few things throughout the parasha that we want to discuss at length. So let's start by Parashat Vayelech. The first beginning words opening words of the parasha. Vayelech Moshe וידבר את הדברים האלה אל כל ישראל. So Moshe walks out. What does it mean? He walks. Whenever I want, I get out of my house, so I walk. What does it mean, Vayelech Moshe? So it's very interesting to look over all the Parshanim, because each one of them takes it to his own part in life, part in Perushim, part in understanding Torah, understanding life. If you start from the Orach Chaim HaKodesh, so he takes the word Vayelech towards Kabbalah, because Orach Chaim brings a lot of Kabbalah to his Perushim, and he takes the words Vayelech Moshe, not literally, but towards Perushei Kabbalah. If you take it's Orach Chaim HaKodesh. If you take the Rashar Hirsch, Reb Shimshon Raphael Hirsch, he's a big educator of the 20th or 19th century, and therefore he understands Vayelech Moshe in an educating manner, meaning that Moshe didn't stay in his palace and waited till the pupils, the students, would come to hear him. No, an educator should go and search for Talmidim, and search for people that yearn for Torah. And that's what Moshe did till the last very day of his life. He went out. He wanted to share his Torah. He didn't stay in one place. So we said, the Orach Chaim takes it into the Kabbalic. The Rashar Hirsch, as usual, takes it into an educational meaning. If you learn if you find in some Litaim Darshanim, you would find that Vayelech Moshe, they take it into Torah. They say that sometimes at the year of 20, the year of 30, you want to go to the Bet Midrash because you have a lot of things to be mechadesh. You have a lot of ideas to say on the sugya. But once you come the year of 70, 80, 90, I must say that it's even 40. I have heard from Rav Shlomo Fisher, who was a big Talmid Chochem, passed away like 3 years ago, throughout the Corona. And I heard from him, he was a big Mechadesh, he wrote Drushim of Beit Hisha, he called it. And he told that everything that he was Mechadesh was just a Torah that he learned till the age of 20. From afterwards, it was just elaborating the same things. That's what he said. So sometimes you don't have anything new from the age of 20, of the age of 30, from the age of 40, for sure at the age of 120. And therefore you have no reason to go to the Bet Midrash, because why should you go? You cannot participate in the limud. You cannot do anything new. So what for? What for? You should sit at home and don't go to something social, to something that involves many learners and talmidim, but not like that. The Litaim Darshanim say that Moshe, even though he went to the Beit Midrash, even he was old, even though that he didn't have anything to say, he was talking the same things to Am Yisrael. He was talking Torah, even though that we had Yoshua, he had many Talmidim that were maybe better than him at that day of his passing away. And even though he decided to participate, so we see again how everybody takes it. I didn't mention the Kli Yakar takes it into Tshuva, Vayelech Moshe, and made it. He always went. He always went. He didn't stay in one place, meaning to say that he was doing Tshuva each and every day. So he takes it to Tshuva, Orach Chaim to Kabbalah, Rasha Hirsch to Chinuch, and Dirshanim for learning Torah. But I want to discuss the very word Vayelech. Where do we find Vayelech? If we look out, we can find the word Vayelech twice by Moshe and by his forefather, Avraham Avinu. Firstly, we find Vayelech Moshe, or Vayelech Ish mi Beit Levi, Vayikach et Bat Levi. You remember, or you remind of the second perek of Sefer Shemot, whereas we have at the perek Aleph, we have the Shiabud of Mitzrayim, and according to Chazal, we've just learned it in Masechet Sotah not a long time ago in the Daf Yomi, that Amram, not mentioned even in his name, Poresh Mishto, he doesn't want to give birth to kids because he knows that in the background there is a gzeira of Paro that all the kids will be thrown into the Nile. What for? Why should I give birth into a baby that will be thrown out into the Nile? What meaning does it have? And he's very right. So his daughter Miriam tells him, Gzeratcha kasha mishel Paro, because Paro gazar רק על הזכרים, and you're גוזר גם על הנקבות, and therefore he לוקח את ציפורה ליקוחים שניים, so he remarried to her, and therefore they had the baby, ותרא אותו כי טובו ותצפנהו שלושה ירחים, as we know, Moshe Rabbeinu was born, פרק ב' of ספר שמות. And from that beginning, Vayelech Ish mi Beit Levi, Vayikach et Bat Levi. We have the end, Vayelech Moshe. Meaning to say that everything he does, he has come from a decision of his father, of the manning of the leader of that door, to do the unexpected and to do the irrational thing to do, and to give birth, even though everybody knows that if there are boys, it's very nice, you know, what Miriam told him, and it's very rational, that half the kids will be alive, but you must remember that in the Tanakh time, giving birth into a girl is not such a big deal, okay? So we just talk about giving birth into boys, okay? And therefore, if all the boys are thrown away into the Nile, there is no reason, and it's still irrational. because nowadays, when we read the Gemara in Sota, we understand Miriam. We don't understand what Amram thought, because he really kills half the population without any reason. But in his perspective, giving birth into a boy is the only thing that exists, okay? And therefore, he makes the rational thing from his perspective by not giving birth at all. And even though he decides, because of his daughter, to do the irrational thing and to start with miracles, and therefore we have the Akadosh Baruch Hu answers Tzipora, not Tzipora, Yochevet, sorry, by renewing her womb. Akadosh Baruch Hu mechadesh neurea. She becomes, even though she's very, very old, she becomes like a young person, and she gives birth, and Moshe is born. And therefore, the same thing here. Moshe, Vayelech Moshe וידבר את הדברים האלה אל כל ישראל, even though that he can sit in his place and say, okay, I've done enough, I've told them enough, and we'll see that he doesn't have many new things to renew. But even though he comes, he gets out, and he understands that he even though it's irrational, he still walks, he still gets involved, he still wants to share, as we saw by the Rashar here. She wants to educate people, and therefore you have a Chidush Neurim here, okay? HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells him in this parasha that Moshe not in this parasha, in וזאת הברכה, לא נס לאיכו ולא קטע עינו ולא נס לאיכו, that Moshe is at the age of 120 is irrational, because something irrational happens to his body. The skin is still the same skin, the eye is still the same eye, no changes, because he does the irrational. So Kadosh Baruch Hu answers midah keneged midah by doing the irrational. That's about the linkage between Vayelech Ish Mebeit Levi and Vayelech Moshe. But let's go back to his forefather, Avraham Avinu. How does Avraham Avinu start his moreshet? How does he start creating Am Yisrael? We know, Parashat Lech Lecha, Vayomer Hashem el Avraham, Lech Lecha, me'artzecha, mimlotecha, mebeit avicha, the famous question of the Ramban. We don't find any reason why HaKadosh Baruch Hu chose Avraham, unlike Noach, that we see that HaKadosh Baruch Hu chooses him because he's tzaddik tamim, and because he's the only guy in the generation. We don't find any reason why HaKadosh Baruch Hu chooses Avraham. And even though Avraham, Vayomer Hashem el Avraham, Lech Lecha, HaKadosh Baruch Hu starts his life, his legacy, and is making Am Yisrael, and Moshe ends in a way the creation of Am Yisrael, because from now on the molding period of time of the 40 years is finished. From now on, we have a generation goes to his nation in Eretz Yisrael, and he'll have Am Yisrael will have to live like any other nation. We know that we're special. We know there are different conditions to live in Eretz Yisrael. But we have to ish tachat gafno, ish tachat tento, no longer that we depend on the umbrella that Moshe Rabbeinu puts on our heads, and thinks that he'll do everything to set everything up for us. So Moshe ends what Avraham Avinu starts, and it's very interesting because Avraham Avinu is ordered twice, Lech Lecha. There is a famous midrash, Lech Lecha, me'artzecha u'mebeit avicha, the very beginning of Avraham, and Lech Lecha el Eretz Moriah to the Akedah, the same phrase of Lech Lecha. And Moshe Rabbeinu ends with Vayelech. Avraham Avinu starts by going where to, leaving everything from behind and going to Eretz Yisrael, because HaKadosh Baruch Hu ordered him that you should leave everything, your legacy, your tradition, your family, your homeland, whatever, leave everything away and go to Eretz Yisrael. He doesn't know even where to, but HaKadosh Baruch Hu would show him. He doesn't know where to in the Akedah. HaKadosh Baruch Hu would show him HaMakom Asher Ar'eka. Moshe Rabbeinu, the opposite. He wants to go to Eretz Yisrael, But Vayelech Moshe, he goes all the way not to Eretz Israel, just because HaKadosh Baruch Hu has ordered him. So we have the beginning with Avraham going to Eretz Israel because of the Lech Lecha, because of going to the Akedah, to the destination without knowing where to. And Moshe Rabbeinu does the opposite. He goes to the unknown. He goes to his death without going to Eretz Israel, the only thing that he really deserves and he really wants to do. And even though he doesn't do it, Lo uchal od latzet v'lavo, he doesn't do that. So we have here the phrase Vayelech, and we saw a linkage either to Moshe Rabbeinu himself and his beginnings, the place where he comes from, and to the very beginning of the nation of Avraham Avinu, either in going to Eretz Israel and going to the Akedah. Let's now go to the Parsha itself. Vashem amar elai, lo ta'avor et hayarden hazeh. Okay? There is a very interesting thing that happens here. Hashem Elokecha, hu over lefanecha, hu yashmid et hagoyim haele milfanecha v'rishta. So no, Am Israel, I cannot do anything now, but Hashem Elokecha, he is the only one that does. He'll destroy all the nations of Amei Canaan. Okay, I'll skip this phrase. V'asa Hashem lahem, כאשר עשה לסיחון ולעוג מלכי האמורים לארצם, אשר השמיד, הוא השמיד, not me, הקדוש ברוך הוא, השמיד אותם, ונתנם השם לפניכם, ועשיתם להם ככל המצווה אשר ציוויתי אתכם. Moshe Rabbeinu puts a very small phrase in between the two psukim of Pasuk Gimel and Pasuk Dalet. The two psukim that talk about the stage of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that leading you all, and does everything for you. Moshe Rabbeinu puts a small sentence, Yehoshua hu over lefanecha kasher diber Hashem. By the way, pay attention, as I said, to the long posuk. How long it is? It's long. It's mamash long. Hu yashmid et hagoyim haele, and then he goes to Yehoshua. So Moshe Rabbeinu, when talking to Am Yisrael, he talks mainly about HaKadosh Baruch Hu and his role in the world, knows that everything depends on HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and from then on, go to your role. Now I cannot do anything, so Yeshua will do it instead of me. But a few psukim later, he goes to Yeshua himself. Vayikra Moshe liYoshua. And according to the former psukim, he should have said, no, be Oved Hashem, know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is your leader, he does everything for you, and you shouldn't do anything, etc., etc. And all of you do is just as a shaliach, as a servant of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But he does the contrary to Yoshua. Vayomer elav le'enei kol Yisrael chazak ve'ematz ki ata tavo et ha'am hazeh אל הארץ אשר נשבע השם לאבותם, ואתה תנחילנה אותם. Just later, in Posuk Chet, he says, והשם הוא ההולך לפניך, הוא יהיה עמך לא ירפך ולא יעזבך, לא תירא ולא תחת. So we see here maybe contradiction, because when talking to Am Yisrael, he talks about the chashivut, the significance of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and everything a human being does is just a part of being a shaliach of Retzon HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But when talking to Yeshua himself, he does the opposite. He talks to Yeshua as if Yeshua is a leader, as if Yeshua does everything. Chazak ve'ematz ki ata tavo et ha'am hazeh. Not even tavi et ha'am hazeh. You won't lead them. Ki ata tavo. He talks to him like you go, you enter. Like mamash, it's not even Hebrew. It's not a correct Hebrew to say ki ata tavo et ha'am hazeh. And also Meforshim discuss it, and later on he say tavi, okay? But now he says tavo, as if he sees in his eyes that you go, you enter in my eyes, I see you entering, stepping into Eretz Israel, and just atatan chilena otam, just later on he says, ve'Hashem hu holech lefanecha. Why does he do it? I think that here you have one of the keys to understand Amoreshet shel Moshe Rabbeinu. From the one hand, Moshe Rabbeinu is the best believer. He understands that HaKadosh Baruch Hu does everything, that I cannot do anything, that all of my life is part of הקדוש ברוך הוא ציווי, and as we said, לא, בין 120 שנה אנוכי היום לא אוכל עוד לצאת ולבוא, why? Because השם אמר אליי לא תעבור את הירדן הזה, I have power, I can do everything, but because of the ציווי of הקדוש ברוך הוא, I can argue, I can try to convince him, but once I have failed, I cannot do anything more than that. It's over. הקדוש ברוך הוא decided, okay, but Moshe Rabbeinu, on the other hand, is not just the very believer, but he is the believer in a human being. Therefore, when talking to the human being, to Yoshua, he talks about himself. You should believe in your power. You should don't try to think to blame or to believe in a Kadosh Baruch Hu and sit like this and says, okay, what can I do? A Kadosh Baruch Hu would lead me. A Kadosh Baruch Hu knows. Hashem yaseh atov beinav. It's very nice, but you have to read the map of the wars, to be a conqueror, to be a leader of the army, to be the Ramatkal, to know, to understand the battle, to try to cheat the enemy. You have to do everything because you're a human being. You're a leader of a nation. You're a leader of the army. You're a leader of Am Yisrael. אתה תנחילנה אותם. הקדוש ברוך הוא, yes, he would help you. But once you do, he'll help you. You won't help a person that doesn't help himself. And we can see it in many things. We won't discuss them all, but look at the beautiful phrase that appears 3 times in this Vayelech Parsha. I like Vayelech. Vayelech is very short, very easy, not many issues, but full of a lot of interpretations. ויכתוב משה את התורה הזאת, ויתנה אל הכהנים בני לוי, הנושאים אל ארון ברית השם ואל כל זקני ישראל. So I don't want to discuss it throughout all the midrashim. You know that Reb Chaim Melikovsky wrote a book, his doctorate on Seder Olam Rabbah, and he has a perek discussing just these psukim. What does the Torah mean by saying ויכתוב משה את התורה הזאת? What does the Torah mean here? What does the Torah mean לקמן in Parshat Va'azino? But according to Rashi, what does it mean the Torah הזאת? Moshe writes everything. Moshe finishes the whole Torah from Bereshit till וזאת הברכה, till the very ending psukim of the 8 psukim that Moshe Rabbeinu writes after his death. As the Gemara says in Baba Batra that he writes bedema with tears. He writes of his death. He ends the whole Torah and he wraps it and gives it. ויתנה אל הכהנים בני לוי הנושאים את ארון ברית השם ואל כל זקני ישראל. So the Torah הזאת, meaning the whole 5 חומשי Torah, not even till now, till Parashat Vayelech, but including האזינו, including וזאת הברכה. ויצב אותם משה אותם לאמור, now he goes to מצוות הקהל. And he says that at the end of the 7 years of the Shemitah, at the Sukkot of the 8th years, תקרא את התורה הזאת. Okay, it's the same phrase. ויכתוב משה את התורה הזאת, ותקרא את התורה הזאת. What does it mean התורה הזאת? It cannot be like in the former posuk, the whole 5 חומשי Torah, because we know that in Parashat Hakel we have Mishnayot and we have Gemorot. What did they read? They didn't read the whole Torah. They read just Sefer Dvarim, right? So Sefer Dvarim is a shortage, it has a lot of kitzur of all the Torah kula, and therefore we read Sefer Dvarim in Parashat Hakel. Let's think, you know, some of the Sfaradim, some even Ashkenazim, they do a Mishmar in Hoshana Rabbah and they read Sefer Dvarim. Imagine that we had to read all the Torah. Would had one night would not be enough, would need more. So no, תקרא את התורה הזאת means just ספר דברים, okay? And ושמרו לעשות את כל דברי התורה הזאת, relating to the same thing. And then we have here again זה ויהי ככלות משה לכתוב את דברי התורה הזאת al Sefer. I said 3 times, sorry, it's 4 times, but the second and the third are the same because it relates to the same Sefer Dvorim. Here, you must say that in Posuk of Dalet, it's back to the whole Torah, that he finished writing the whole Torah ad tumam till the last very Posuk of Vezot HaBracha. Vayitzav Moshe et HaLeviim, as we saw, that he puts the Sefer Torah and gave it to Shevet Levi, נושא ארון ברית השם, לקוח את ספר התורה הזה, ושמתם אותו מצד ארון ברית השם, והיה לך לעד. So we have משחק between התורה הזאת, depicting the whole Torah, and התורה הזאת as ספר דברים. As again, the Maharal that I started and brought many times throughout Sefer Dvarim, based on the Gemara in Megillah, Daf Lamed Aleph, the Gemara says that there is a difference between the 4 former Sforim and the 5th Sefer. The Torah, the Gemara discusses there the klalot of Parshat Bechukotai and the klalot of Ki Tavo, and the Gemara says that in Ki Tavo you should stop in the middle of the klalot what is forbidden to do in Bechukotai. Nowadays we don't do that, but nowadays we don't stop even in the middle of Ki Tavo. But according to the Gemara, to the Bavli in Megillah, unlike the Yerushalmi by the way, so the Bavli says that we don't stop in Bechukotai, but we do stop in Ki Tavo because Moshe mipi atzmo amaran. And we mentioned many times the Maharal that says no, Moshe couldn't say anything from his own mouth. It's a kfira to say that one word in the Torah doesn't come from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but from Moshe. So the Maharal says that there is a big difference between the 4 form of Sforim relating to HaKadosh Baruch Hu from his side of view, and the 5th one, which is Moshe's style of view, the Mekabel, the receiver, the Am Yisrael style of view, Moshe Rabbeinu is his representative style of view, whatever you want. So if Moshe plays again with Torah Hazot, sometimes he relates to HaKadosh Baruch Hu as a 5 Chumashim, and sometimes he relates just to Sefer Dvorim, he plays again with the Torah as an instrument of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, as a kli umanuto shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Therefore, the Torah consists of 5 chumashim. Before I was born just in Sefer Shmot, but there is Sefer Bereshit before I was born, says Moshe, and you have to discuss the Torah as a michlol, as a big entity, whereas, according to me, the Torah, my own Torah, what I want you to read in Parashat Hakel or during Hoshana Rabbah is just Sefer Dvarim, because I give you a shortage, a kitzur of the Torah, a sikum, a summary of the Torah, and you should read just Sefer Dvarim, and therefore you would have a sefer that consists of everything in the Torah. Okay, so here you see here again the משחק that Moshe from one side of point of view sees the Torah as a michlol coming from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but talking to Am Yisrael, he sometimes gives them his own Torah. He says, you don't need the whole 5 chumashim, you just need mine. Mine is just Dvorim, and you should believe in yourself, you should believe in Yoshua, in yourself, you should believe in your own part, in being mechadesh dvarim. And I want to say another thing. There is a very, 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 very frightening end of the Torah, because HaKadosh Baruch Hu talks to Moshe Rabbeinu, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu ויאמר השם אל משה הן קרבו ימיך למות, קרא את יהושע והתייצבו וכולי וכולי. Okay, so it's very nice. You have a successor and you have to appoint him because this day you're going to die. Am Yisrael needs somebody who understands that. But what is the thing that HaKadosh Baruch Hu chooses to say to him? ויאמר השם אל משה הנך שוכב עם אבותיך. Very nice. V'kam, what will your successor do, or successors כן, עם ישראל, as ממשיכים of your legacy, what will they do? וזנה אחרי אלוהי נכר הארץ, ועזבה והפר את בריתי. Very nice. הקדוש ברוך הוא gives him a very nice end. No, you should rest in peace at your grave, because you know that you have succeeded. The nation you have brought throughout 40 years would surely sin. וזנה וחרה אפי בו ביום ההוא, ועזבתים והסתרתי פניי מהם, ומצאו רעות רבות וצרות, ואמר ביום ההוא לא כן בקרבי, ואנוכי not only that I'll do it, אנוכי אסתר פניי ביום ההוא. Very nice, a very nice ending. ועתה כתבו לכם את השירה הזאת, meaning to say לכאורה, or the Torah, or שירת האזינו, למען תהיה לי השירה הזאת לעד בבני ישראל. So what does הקדוש ברוך הוא say in one sentence? I know for sure that these people would sin after your death. They'll be angry at me and be angry more at them. כי אבינו אל הארץ, ואכל ושבע ודשן, ופנה אל אלוהים אחרים, ועבדום ונייצוני והפר את בריתי. And when he reads, and ותקרא אותו רעות רבות וצרות, so don't say that it's, I don't know what's going on. Read שירת האזינו, and then you have a testimony, you have it will testify in front of your eyes that you have known from the beginning that you would sin, and then you have the covenant says that I'll kick you out of Eretz Israel. Okay, that's the end. No good end. Okay. Moshe Rabbeinu goes, ויצב את יהושע בן נון לאמור ויאמר חזק ואמת, and again we understand that, because why? Moshe has to appoint a successor, okay. כי אתה תביא את בני ישראל אל הארץ, now we can see the word לא תבוא. ויצב משה את הלוויים, לקוח את ספר התורה הזה, right? ושמת אותו. Why do you need the ספר התורה that we have seen that he gives to his own tribe? כי אנוכי ידעתי את מריך ואת עורפך הקשה. Very nice. Very nice to an educator to rest in peace after all of his years במערכת החינוך, and the very ending words of his life. אין בעודני חי עמכם היום אמרים הייתם עם השם, ואף כי אחרי מותי. Of course, it's one of the קל וחומרים in the Torah. If when I was alive, I were alive, you sinned so much, what do you think that I would expect you to do after my death? For sure you would sin. כן, כי ידעתי אחרי מותי, כי אשחט תשחיתון, וסרתם מן הדרך אשר ציוויתי אתכם, וקראת אתכם הרעה באחרית הימים, כי תעשו את הרע. Very nice. So משה למד from Hashem, הקדוש ברוך הוא, משה and הקדוש ברוך הוא, both their last speech is a very pessimistic. So if you learn something from Parshat Vayelech, that you shouldn't be an optimistic person, you should be just a very pessimistic, because even HaKadosh Baruch Hu is very and Moshe Rabbeinu is very pessimistic. So what's going on? Okay, why does Moshe tell the Levim such a thing? Okay, he puts a Sefer Torah just to that you will have a testimony against the sins of Am Yisrael in the future. We see here again the truth and of Moshe and his way of confronting life, because a lot of optimistic people, they confront life by neglecting the problems of what they see. I saw some people writing about the year. We had a lot of confrontation between Am Yisrael about judicial reform, and it's still going on. And a lot of people say, okay, we can learn from this year that behind the machlokot we have a very nice achdus, whatever. But you know what? It's in a way, it's very optimistic to say, but in a way, you just neglect what you see, because we didn't see, unfortunately, recently, so much the achdut. I'm sure that we will see it in the future, and chas v'shalom, that we won't have some events to see the achdut, because it exists. In bad events, it always exists. But you talking nicely and talking optimistically doesn't solve the problems. So Moshe Rabbeinu in his truth doesn't try to speak nicely to Am Yisrael, and he learned it from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. From the one hand, he knows the yediyah, like HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We have a confrontation, Rambam brings it in Hilchot Shuvah, between yediyah and bchira. Between from the one hand that you know for sure that you have a bchira chofshit and free choice and you can do whatever you want out of free choice, but on the other hand, HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows everything. And the Rambam asks his famous question, how can it get together? Because if HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows everything, so how can we choose? The Rambam answers what he answers, the Ravid answers what he answers. It's not the matter of now. But here at the end of his life, Moshe Rabbeinu has the same thing. From the one hand, he knows everything, like HaKadosh Baruch Hu Ke'ilu. He knows the history. He knows for sure that you would sin, and he tells the truth, mamash, without neglecting and hiding anything. He knows that you're a sinner. He knows that you want to be Oved Avodah Zarah, and you'll do it. And he doesn't have any misleading, not of himself, not of others. But on the other hand, he talks, we didn't see it, in Parshat Nitzavim, about בחירה חופשית. ראה אנוכי נותן לפניכם היום את הטוב ואת הרע, את החיים ואת הטוב, ואת המוות ואת הרע. So he really speaks about the בחירה חופשית. How does it get together that on the one hand we have בחירה חופשית, on the one hand we have the idea that you'd seen? No contradiction. I know what I know because I am like a Kadosh Baruch Hu. I have the me'of hatzipor, okay, the flying of the bird. I know the macro. I know looking at the pattern of how you are created. I know for sure that you would sin, but it doesn't give you any influence of what you would choose, what you decide to do. And Moshe mixes it both together very nicely, and we see it in Parashat Nitzavim Vayelech. From the one hand, we have bchira chofshit, free choice, and do whatever you want. You're not, and he really believes in Yehoshua. He really believes in you, that you really can choose whatever you want. On the other hand, he has the yediyah, like a Kodesh Baruch Hu, that he knows for sure what you would choose, and it doesn't contradict. So Moshe Rabbeinu doesn't want to hide or say something nicely. He is a true person. He is a person of just pure truth. Therefore, he doesn't hide anything. But he knows and he believes in the mixture of bchira chofshit, together with the knowing for sure that what you choose, and it doesn't give him any contradiction. So I think that we saw that Moshe Rabbeinu coming from Vayelech, coming from the irrational, ending with the irrational, doing till the last very day of his life. He doesn't believe in just optimism. He believes in truth. He believes in bchira chofshit. He believes in believing in the human being, in Yehoshua, in the person in front of you. He doesn't contradict anything of the knowing of what's going on and of the truth. And I think that what Moshe leaves for us, and we'll see it in the coming to Parashot. All the best, and see you next week. רפואה שלמה, תודה רבה to you.
Yeah, very nice. Very good.
תודה רבה.
Thank you.